Have you ever thought about how one single moment can just completely change the entire direction of your career? A throwaway comment, a random purchase. It's wild, but sometimes that's literally all it takes.
So imagine this. This one sentence, said by a wife to her husband, was the spark. This wasn't some grand business plan or a lifelong dream. Nope, it was just a simple, off-the-cuff suggestion that ended up changing everything.
So how did that happen? How does that sentence lead to a whole new career? Well, that's exactly what we're going to dig into. We're going to follow the amazing story of Jack Socha, a guy who stumbled into becoming a professional explainer.
Okay, let's set the scene. Before any of this happened, you have to meet Jack Socha in his element. He wasn't some tech genius or an entrepreneur. He was the morning news host at a big-time radio station down in Texas. He had a solid, successful career in broadcasting. And this is where it all starts. He brings one of the very first personal computers into his office, and with that PC came its, let's say, challenging operating system, DOS. For anyone who doesn't remember, this was before Windows, okay? It was all text commands and a super steep learning curve.
Now, what's really interesting is how his job started to change, but not officially. He figured out DOS, and pretty soon, he was the guy, the one person everyone else went to when they got a computer. So his official title was Morning News Host, but what he was actually doing all day was being the accidental tech tutor. And this right here is where his wife's comment comes roaring back into the story. All that time he was spending teaching person after person how to use DOS, well, that was about to be turned into an actual product. An idea was born.
And the crazy part is, he actually did it. I mean, he took this simple idea and just ran with it. He left his steady, successful radio job to start publishing how-to guides on cassette tapes. Just like that, a professional explainer was born. And listen, this wasn't some small side project that fizzled out. No way. It totally took off. He ended up making 3 different versions of his DOS tutorial. He even did a special version for IBM itself, and this is really cool, another one with a Braille reference card for the National Braille Press. So that one cassette tape, that was just the beginning. It became the foundation for a whole new career, just explaining the crazy, fast-changing world of technology to everyday people. You can basically track the evolution of tech just by looking at what he was explaining. After DOS, of course, came Windows. Then he made guides for going online, making the internet way less scary. After that, he did guides for the first digital cameras, and even one on how to sell stuff on eBay. He was always explaining the next big thing.
And people started to notice. I mean, big people. He wasn't just some random guy making tapes anymore. He was a legit tech journalist, getting coverage in the New York Times, Wired, and the Associated Press. He'd become a voice people trusted.
But here's the kicker. His work also showed up in a place that, well, let's just say you wouldn't find any other tech journalists there. A place that was a little less conventional. And this is just brilliant because it really gets to the heart of his appeal. His tech guides were sold in the Johnson Smith Company catalog. The one advertised on the back of comic books. His DOS tutorial was right there next to X-ray specs, joy buzzers, and whoopee cushions. It just proves his whole brand was about making tech accessible, not intimidating. Of course, careers are never a straight line, right? Especially when they're tied to technology. So when the dot-com boom started to slow down, Jack's journey took a few more twists and turns, proving that being good at explaining is a skill you can use anywhere. He went back to radio for a bit, hosting a computer talk show. He even ran a whole radio station for a few years. He took his skills to the classroom, teaching classes, and into the business world, training customer service reps and consulting on a huge media project.
And then, radio came calling again. For 12 years straight, he went deep into audio production, producing this many recorded interview shows for one big client. That's 665 shows. I mean, you can imagine how sharp his skills were after all that.
So all this modern, hands-on audio experience brought his journey right back around, full circle. He was back where he started, looking at a new technology and seeing a whole bunch of people who needed a clear, friendly guide. He looked around and basically saw history repeating itself. That same confusion people felt about DOS back in the day, a whole new generation was feeling that exact same way about trying to produce a really good podcast. The tech was different, but the need for a good explainer was exactly the same. So what's so cool is that he's just running the same playbook for a modern problem, Back then, the problem was, how do I use DOS? And the solution was a how-to on a cassette. Today, the problem is, how do I make a great podcast? And the solution is a how-to in an audiobook. It's the same formula.
And that brings us right up to today. The culmination of this long, winding, totally accidental career is his brand new audiobook called I Want a Podcast. From explaining DOS on a cassette to explaining podcasting in an audiobook, the professional explainer is back in business. So Jack's whole story really just started because he was good at explaining one thing to his coworkers. And it makes you think, doesn't it? What's that one thing you are always explaining to people over and over again? You never know, that could be your next big thing.